Hey, everybody. Tonight I want to talk about chronic illnesses in children. It's a little bit of a different topic than what we had planned for, but this is a really timely topic and I wanted to um, discuss it tonight. So, when you're dealing with a child with a chronic illness, it can be really, really difficult because the child can transfer some of their frustration about the situation onto the parent and specifically the caregiver who is in charge of taking them to doctor's appointments or managing their time in the hospital or whatever it happens to be. We um, we have such a challenge um, communicating care while holding to the standard that needs to be met while still taking them to those appointments. And it can lead to resentment, it can lead to a breakdown in the relationship, and it can lead to a feeling of helplessness and powerlessness, both on the parents' end and also on the child's end. And, so many kids these days have really, painful chronic conditions, whether that's anxiety, whether that is depression, whether that is a physical situation. And what it means is that you are going to be in a position where you are helping to enforce the care that they need, sometimes against their preferences, sometimes against their will. Um, and that is a really, really difficult place to be. And oftentimes for a parent, when these situations come up and the child starts directing that anger toward the parent is left trying to defend themselves and communicate why we're in the situation and why the treatments are necessary and that it's not their fault. And the parent is left defending their decisions. And what that child really needs is a safe place to express their anger and a safe place to allow the pain to come up and out. And we do that through reflective listening. Sometimes, though, a parent has a hard time separating their own trigger from what the child is saying. So if the child is saying is lashing out at the parent, I hate you, um, you're so mean, why do you make me go to these appointments? All of these things that they might say to communicate, I hate this, I hate not having control, I hate being in constant pain, I hate this treatment plan, whatever it is that they're trying to communicate. They don't have language for that. So they're communicating it in a way which is directed toward the parent who is going to be offering the most care. And so the child doesn't have language for that. That language then becomes triggering for the parent. The parent is left defending themselves and defending the decisions they're making. And it leads to this vicious cycle where nobody's really feeling heard and nobody's able to deal with those feelings that are coming up. So one of the things that we want to do when you're in the situation is learn to separate the language that child doesn't have for their pain from what they're actually saying. So we look at the language that they're using and we pause before responding to that. And we learn to look past the arrow that they're sending our way to the heart of what they're saying. And most of the time this is really hard. This really hurts. I can't deal with this. This is too much for me. And so we want to respond to what they're actually saying instead of, why do I have to do this? Why are you doing this to me? If we're responding up here, but what they're talking about is down here, then we're continually going to miss the messages and they're going to continually feel not heard. So it is such a challenge when we have kids who are chronically ill or have some sort of painful situation that they have to continue to go through. And to be the one who's enforcing that, it's deeply painful too. So when they put you in the position of the person who's at fault for that, it can be even more difficult because you are in the position of wanting to save them from that situation, wanting to make it stop, and not being able to make it stop and then being blamed for it by them. So we want to learn to put aside the words they're saying and look at the heart of what they're saying and look at the pain behind what they're saying and respond to that pain versus responding to the specific language that they're using. You can get better at that by learning more about reflective listening. And we have so many resources for that in this group. So I highly recommend that you put reflective listening in the comments. And I will make sure that Christina reaches out to you to get you resources you need to start practicing that more. The other thing that happens with chronic conditions is that there can be this lack of trust and this resentment that builds between the child and the caregiver who is needing to enforce those appointments or the medications or whatever it is. And we need to be able to create a safe place for them to express their anger and for them to be able to unload and unleash without feeling like they're going to be punished for that. Part of what happens in the situation when resentment builds is that we lose access. So that child tends to not trust the parent who is enforcing or not want to be near that parent and might prefer another caregiver, might prefer another parent who is not the one who has to take them to those appointments, might prefer a babysitter, something like that. And that can be deeply triggering and deeply painful for the parent who is like, I'm just trying to do what's best for you. This is what the doctor said we have to do. And, you have all these reasons for doing what you need to be doing. And that child who is just trying to make sense of their pain learns to associate you, the caregiver, with the cause of that pain, even though it's out of your hands, even though you would make it stop in a heartbeat if you could. And so instead of being triggered by their logical reaction to their pain, we want to be a safe place so we don't lose access. We want to be able to communicate, gosh, this is so hard. This is so painful. You and you think it's my fault and I'm the one taking you to those appointments. You're so mad at me. We need to be able to create that safe place by allowing them to be angry, allowing them to see us as the person who is causing all this, that's a safe position, that we can handle that pain, that we're not threatened by it, that we're okay. We can manage that. And the way that you would do that is you look past that language that they're using to the heart of that pain and respond lovingly to that painful message that they're sharing with you. And then you're thankful for that. You thank them for giving you the opportunity to show up for them in that pain. You thank them and invite them to continue to share that pain with you. And it's so important. It's so important. If you have a child with chronic illness or some sort of chronic condition that you are navigating with them, my heart goes out to you. I know exactly where you are, and I know how difficult it can be. It's so difficult on the child. It's so difficult on the parent. And if you need support in that sort of situation, please reach out to me, whether that's in the comments or in a private message. There can be lasting trauma that happens as a result of the chronic conditions and the way that care was given. So if you find yourself in this position, please know that there's support out there for you, and there are things that you can do to get ahead of that trauma and reduce the amount of trauma that happens as a result of the chronic conditions that you need to help your kids with. So I think I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, take care. Bye-bye.